What's up, everybody? My name is OMG WTF LOL FTW BRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are playing as the WWF in the year 2002, booking the invasion angle, heading our way up to the road to WrestleMania. We're close. It's week 3. We've got one more week to book after this, and I'm not going to make any hard, concrete promises because I always feel like whenever I make these promises, I tend to break them as well. But I'm going to try to focus a little bit more on here. I've been focusing a lot on the WWE versus TEW series, mostly because I'm just trying to keep up with the WWE. As of right now, I don't care. I'm not going to try to get too far behind, but if I'm a little behind, it's fine, I think. If we catch up, we catch up. I want to get up to WrestleMania. I know this is what you guys want to see the most, so I'm making, like, Invasion my #1 priority right now. I'm going to get working on Heat right after this Nitro. Hopefully get that up as soon as I can. I'm hoping to get it up before the end of this week, but it is Labor Day weekend, so if I can't get it up by the end of this week, it should be up next week. I'm not going to make a promise. I'm just going to say that that's the goal. I'm hoping to reach it. With that being said, let's stop wasting our time. Let's jump in on this episode of Nitro. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited for it. A lot of stuff going down tonight. First things first, we have a couple of pre-show matches here. I want to test the waters with some of our developmental talent, see exactly where they're at, and see if they're ready for a call-up. So we went ahead and we hired some local talent here because I really didn't want the Haas brothers losing. I kind of want to build them up some momentum because I do think I am going to bring up both the Haas brothers. So I went ahead and hired some local talent. That local talent being Lance Hoyt and Eric Watts. Lance Hoyt just seemed like a guy that Vince McMahon would be like, oh yeah, I need Vance Archer in this company right now. And Eric Watts being, you know, I believe he's like the son of Bill Watts, I think it was. So I figured, why not? Nonetheless, in an abysmal pre-show matchup here, 34E+, the Haas brothers, Russ and Charlie, going over the team of Lance Hoyt and Eric Watts in 6 minutes, 18 seconds when Russ Haas goes over Lance Hoyt by submission with the Haas of Pain. Lance Hoyt was apparently the weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else's in-ring performance. And if you see that horrible 6 in-ring performance down there, oof. Yeah, I don't think Lance Hoyt's going to be getting a contract anytime soon here. Then again, he is that kind of guy Vince would hire, so maybe I will. Who knows? Russ Haas is getting a gimmick that is, or has a gimmick that's getting stale, so that could be a problem when we call him up. Very vocal crowd, not very thrilled with seeing Lance Hoyt wrestle. Eric Watts getting better at his gimmick. Color commentary helping this match out a bit here. Charlie Haas with an in-ring performance of a 40. He was the best of the match. Russ, his brother, with just 1 point below him with a 39. Eric Watts with a 28. And as we mentioned earlier, Lance Hoyt with a drizzling performance of a 6. Good Lord. He is improving, though. He's improving in performance, so he can be taught. So I guess that's a plus there. But that's looking at the Haas brothers in-ring performance, taking away from the fact that they are taking on 2 like unknown guys. Eric Watts not doing too bad, to be honest. He could be a guy I may look at hiring, depending on his age. But I do think the Haas brothers might be ready for a call-up. I think with my plans going forward, I think this is a team we could be seeing in the future here. Lance, I already talked about that, but whatever, who cares? Moving on, we have a 50D+ rating match. I figured we should get Trish some more matches here, kind of build her up a little bit as an in-ring competitor, even though this is on the pre-show match. Plus Victoria, a.k.a. Lisa Marie Varon, who is down in our developmental company. I think she's ready, even though we just hired her not too long ago. We're probably going to be calling up quite a few of the women down there who are ready. And Victoria seems to have good skills, although her in-ring performance shows a 20. So that does leave a lot to be desired, but I don't know. Maybe we'll leave her down. Who knows? 50D+ rating here, though, in a pre-show bout that had terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat. Trish Stratus goes over Victoria in 6 minutes, 15 seconds with Stratusfaction. Stratus looked good out there, had an in-ring performance of a 63, better than some of the men. Victoria with a 20. Trish is also improving. She's improving in flying, of all things. And finally, in the main event of the pre-show, I guess Trish should have gone on last. 31E plus rating here as we have an abysmal pre-show matchup. D1 Billy Gunn going over Leviathan, aka Drax the Destroyer, aka Bautista, in 8 minutes, 9 seconds when he illegally used the ropes for leverage here. So I had Leviathan kept strong to make him look like he's a monster. I thought about putting an angle before here, having Billy Gunn like, oh, I could take on anybody, bring me out anybody, and then out comes Leviathan, you know, this imposing looking monster, and Billy kind of looking threatened by it. But with that being said, Billy does get the victory with a quick roll up, using the ropes for leverage as well, getting a victory over Leviathan, who was visibly tired towards the end. 8-minute matchup and he's visibly tiring towards the end? Ooh, I don't know if Batista's going to have a career in our company. I might have to edit his stamina. That's bad. Oh, Lord. May have to have a OVW focus on his stamina down there. He's getting up there in age, though. That's why I say he might not... I might not call him up. He might end up getting released down the line. Who knows? Billy Gunn still foreshadowing that heel turn. He had an in-ring performance of a 49. Leviathan with the 18 in-ring performance. Good Lord. We kept him strong and everything, and he can't even break a 20. Leviathan, though, is improving in performance, so I guess that's good. But, oof, that's bad. Nonetheless, 99 A-star rating as we open up Thursday Night Nitro. Nitro opens up with The Rock's music going off, and out comes the WWF's People's Champion as he makes his way down to the ring. Once in the ring, of course, he poses for the crowd, and before taking the mic and doing his whole catchphrase, finally, The Rock has come back to DC Verizon Center, aka Washington, D.C. I don't know why I just didn't say that. Let The Rock tell you a story, Washington, D.C. It's a story about selfishness, pettiness, and about a spoiled, rotten rich kid who got everything he could have ever wanted, but the one time he was told no, he showed his true colors, bought his daddy's competition, and invaded him. But when the going gets tough, he rides behind some of the world's crappiest wrestlers, pissing his pants while they do the fighting for him. The Rock laid out a challenge to Shane McMahon, and Shane McMahon passed it down to one of his lackeys, but The Rock made a promise to you, Shane Mac. The Rock will lay the smackdown on your candy ass, and whatever happens, and whether it happens, I don't know why I said whatever, I wrote the damn script, and whether it happens at WrestleMania, or it happens tonight, you can bet your candy ass that it's happening soon. And that's when Shane McMahon's music goes off. Here comes the money, and out comes the owner of WCW. And this is our cue to bring up our handy-dandy notepad. Before we move on to the handy-dandy notepad, you might notice some new things here. This is kind of, or currently, I guess, who I'm considering for the Hall of Fame 2002. I looked up to see who WWE/WWF inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2002, and to my surprise, there wasn't a Hall of Fame induction ceremony in 2002. I don't remember the year they brought it back. It might have been the year after this. I don't know. Or maybe it was 2004. But they didn't do a Hall of Fame induction ceremony in 2002, so this will be ours, I guess. We're bringing it back. This is the first year technically it's being brought back, and this is kind of who I'm considering at the moment right now. So I'm thinking our headliner could be Roddy Piper. I don't want to like induct Hulk Hogan or something because, well, Hulk Hogan is in the company now, so I'm thinking someone who was kind of a draw back in the day that isn't, you know, in the WWF right now. Roddy Piper could be someone we induct and maybe even bring him in and do something down the line with him as a manager, or maybe even one last run. Who knows? Women's would be Mae Young. I mean, come on. Who else could it not be? Mae Young's not in the Hall of Fame yet. Might as well do it now. Legacy, I was thinking someone like Harley Race. Legacy kind of being, you know, someone who made their name before, like, the big boom of wrestling, I guess. Outside the WWF, meaning people who made their name really kind of outside of the WWF, kind of self-explanatory. The Great Muta, who passed away in the game, so I figured go for him. And then a tag team can be the Brainbusters, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, a team here in the WWF, since Arn Anderson passed away. And then employee just kind of being, you know, I guess the Warrior Award in a sense or whatever. Someone who is an employee of the WWF, not really a wrestler, but has made a big impact despite not wrestling, and I thought Jimmy Hart would be a good one. If you guys can think of anybody else who would be better qualified, go ahead and let me know. Of course, that also depends if they're in this game as well. And then, of course, backstage, The Undertaker working on some babyface skills with his protege, Mark Jindrak here. So, moving on to the first promo of the night, Shane responds after he comes out saying, "All right, Rocky, we get the point. You know, the one thing I like about your story is that even though it was so obviously about me, if you think hard about it, it could be about you too. I mean, think about it. Spoiled brat who's gotten everything he could have ever wanted, and then when I told you no, I'm not gonna fight you, I don't need to fight you, what do? What does the Great One do? Bitches and moans week after week, hoping I'll cave in. Well, guess what? Today's the day, Rock, because I've got an offer to make to you. If you can beat an opponent handpicked by yours truly tonight, then I will face you at WrestleMania." And that's when The Rock goes on to take the mic, and he responds by saying, "If it gets The Rock his match, then you get your hand out of your ass and pick him already. Don't worry about that, Rock. I've already got your opponent picked out for tonight." And that's when the Giants music goes off, and out comes the man formerly known as the Big Show. He stands by Shane McMahon's side, and The Rock says, "You think The Rock is afraid of the Big Show?" Big Show, you know he goes by the Giant. It doesn't matter what he goes by. Big Show, Giant, Andre the Giant's bastard son. It doesn't matter, because the only thing that matters is that tonight your giant ass gets the SmackDown, and at WrestleMania, Shane McMahon and the rest of WCW get the SmackDown. If you smell what The Rock is cooking." And Rock throws the mic down. His music goes off. Bobby Heenan, Mike Tenay, and Dusty Rhodes hype up the fact, "Did you just hear the news there, baby? The Rock goes one-on-one against the 7-foot-tall..." Dusty Rhodes kind of became Vince Russo there for a second there. "Takes on the Giant tonight, and if he wins, he gets Shane McMahon and Booker T at WrestleMania." I forgot to add that in there. I should have put that in the promo of Shane McMahon announcing that he'll get him at WrestleMania, but it's not just going to be a one-on-one match. It'll still be Booker T and Shane McMahon taking on The Rock. So there you have it. If Rock can beat the Giant tonight, he gets the match he's been demanding. Rock was superb without a script. Held the crowd in the palm of his hand the entire time. Bobby Heenan and Mike Tenay pretty weak. That's a shame. Show got through a strong start. Crowd is hot. Rock came out looking excellent. Booker T looked good because, of course, he stands by Shane McMahon's side at all times. Gained heat for the feud. No worker improvements, though. This is probably like after a commercial break before the opening match of the night. Lord Steven Regal's back in his office, of course, doing, whatever general managers do, or what is he again? I think he's a commissioner, actually. Of course, Power Plant, his bodyguard, standing by his side. 89 solid A rating for the segment here, as Vitamin C, Chris Jericho, and Christian enter unannounced. Mark Jindrak and Stasiak. Power Plant get in their face, of course, and seems like it's going to get a little heated here until Regal goes ahead and calls off Power Plant, and he's at ease, gentlemen. Christian and Christopher, what an unpleasant surprise. Why exactly are you two here? And that's when Jericho responds. He looks right at Regal and he says, "Look, Regal, I know you don't like me, and quite frankly, I don't give much of a damn about you either. But you can't deny the fact that last week, I beat one half of your tag team champions. Yes, you beat Hugh Morris, hardly much of an accomplishment. What's your point?" And then Christian kind of being a little offended here because he feels the point's pretty obvious. He's like, his point is, and Regal kind of gives him a look and he goes, "Was I talking to you, Sunshine?" "Sunshine? Why, you smug son of a..." And Jericho stops him because obviously they want something from Regal here. He goes on to say, "Christian, let me handle this. My point, Lord Regal, is your ladder match for the WCW tag titles needs its daily dose of vitamin C, baby! You think just because you beat Hugh Morris, of all people, you deserve a title shot?" That's when Christian once again steps up to say, "Well, Hugh beat your boys, and we beat him, so yeah." And we once again got to pull up the handy-dandy notepad here. Moving on to our second promo of the night. We're going to see the handy-dandy notepad pull up a lot of times here. Power Plant kind of get a little offended by Christian, and they give him a stare, you know, kind of getting in his face. As, you know, they're maybe not behind his face because they stand behind Regal. And Regal just kind of smugly looks over at Christian with a little smirk on his face and goes, I'd be careful what I say. That's a horrible Regal. Let's try that one again. I'd be careful what I say around them. But I'll tell you what. I myself aren't too fond of those two doofs. And while I may not think much of Mr. Morris, he is one half of the tag team champions. And you did beat him. But I'm not just going to add you to the title match. Not quite yet. What else do we gotta do? We already beat the champs. You beat a champion, not the champions. So therefore tonight, you two will face the WCW Tag Team title. What? Okay. WCW Tag Team Champions in a non-title match, of course. And if you win, you will be added to the ladder match. And then Jericho, he says, that's it. Consider it done. You just better pencil our name in now because this is going to be a cakewalk. But, and that's, you know, Vitamin C, they go to walk out, and that's when Regal stops him with the but. And then Christian's like, there's a but? Jericho responds, there's always a but. If you two so happen to lose, then fear not, because you two will get a second opportunity to get in that ladder match immediately after your match against Kanyon and Hugh Morris. Because you will take on Mark Jindrak, or Mr. Stasiak and Mr. Jindrak. Good luck tonight, gentlemen. And there you have it. Jericho and Christian get an opportunity. If they can beat the tag team champions tonight, if they can beat Kanyon and Hugh Morris, they will join Kanyon, Hugh Morris, the Hardy Boys, RVD, and Sabu in that ladder match at WrestleMania for the tag team titles. But if they lose, they do get a second opportunity. Regal's feeling a little gracious here. Immediately after their match against Kanyon and Hugh Morris, if they lose, they will take on Power Plant, who also gets a second opportunity. So, high stakes here tonight, as we'll find out the final member in that four-way for the ladder match. This got the crowd hot. Jericho was a real star. Good stuff all around. Shawn Stasiak learning to show more charisma. Good stuff. We move on to our opening match of the night. Kind of a playoff of what's been happening in the past few weeks here. Vampiro has beaten all three of these men in individual one-on-one matches, defending the Cruiserweight Championship against all three of them. In fact, looking to almost end Chavo Guerrero last, or was it Chavo? No, it was Dean Malenko last week until Los Guerreros came in for the save, which is kind of what led to the six-man tag team match. Vampiro teaming up with Flock members Boss Man and Perry Saturn to take on I guess the three amigos is what we can call them. Eddie Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero, and Dean Malenko. And a decent matchup here. Dean Malenko and Los Guerreros go over Vampiro on the Flock when Vampiro intentionally gets disqualified while fighting Chavo Guerrero. So I don't know what he would use. Maybe some spiked object. Nonetheless, Vampiro not caring about the rules, not even caring about this matchup. After 8 minutes, 39 seconds into the match, Vampiro gets himself disqualified. 77, Sala B. The Flock is all about anarchy anyway, so it makes sense. Eddie's getting better at his gimmick. Color commentary, you know, helping out the match. Chavo Guerrero with an in-ring performance of a 55. Looks like he was the weakest of the match there, though. Eddie Guerrero with a 73. Dean Malenko with a 54, or 64, excuse me. Eddie Guerrero was the best of the match, by the way, with the 73. Perry Saturn with a 71, tying with Vampiro 71, and Bossman with a 63 here. So, helps out the Cruiserweight Championship feud here. Eddie Guerrero improving in performance, as is Bossman and Perry Saturn. Afterwards, though, Vampiro and the Flock continue their beatdown as they beat down on Chavo, Dean, and Eddie Guerrero. The referee calling for the bell, but Vampiro whipping Chavo. Oh, that's what it was. He probably just used the title belt to hit Chavo, intentionally getting himself disqualified. He's now just whipping Chavo Guerrero with the Cruiserweight Championship like it's a legit belt, while Bossman and Saturn go after Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko. Staff members are rushing out, trying to break up the mayhem, but the Flock won't let anybody in the ring, and that's when Lord Steven Regal's music hits, and out comes the commissioner, not the general manager. And he's like, Hi! What in the hell do you think you're doing? You three are out here trying to end these three gentlemen's careers for what? For your sick and twisted enjoyment? Well, Vampiro, you know what brings me enjoyment? Watching the look on people's faces when I book them in a match they're not so happy about. which is why at WrestleMania you will defend that Cruiserweight Championship against Dean Malenko, against Eddie and Chavo Guerrero, against Billy Kidman, and against this returning young man right here. And that's when we hear, do. Who's that jumping up the sky? I-E-Y Mysterio. Here we go. When the mask drop, the girl just has out. The boys just tap out. I don't know the words. Rey Mysterio makes his much anticipated return. Former Cruiserweight champion who was injured a little while back in a match against Sabu. He makes his return. But he doesn't come out from the entryway as we're all waiting to see Rey Mysterio jump up from the entryway as he always does. No. He appears from behind, sliding in. All three men go after Rey Mysterio, but Rey Mysterio able to duck them. He takes out Boss Man and Perry Saturn. Probably with a drop kick, Saturn and Boss Man go flying out of the ring. Vampiro goes after him, but Rey Mysterio turns it in his favor. I don't know if I wrote this in the handy dandy notepad. Let's see. No, I didn't think I did. So I'll just go off the top of my head here. But he turns it around in his favor, drop kicks Vampiro in the knee, goes to hit the 619, but Vampiro luckily was pulled out by Boss Man and Perry Saturn there. So Rey Mysterio standing tall as he checks on, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Chavo. And there we have it. It is official. We will have a 6-way match. I was kind of tempted to make it a ladder match, but we already have a 6-man ladder match with the... is it 6? No, it's 8. 8-man ladder match, right? Can I do 8? I'm pretty sure we can do a 4-way ladder match. I'm pretty sure I checked it already. I hope so. Fuck. Nonetheless, if not, I guess this will be our ladder match. But, yeah, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, it's 8. Second guessing myself here now. Whatever. But, yeah. Announcement made. Vampiro's going to defend the Cruiserweight Championship, not just against Rey Mysterio, which was my original plan, but he will also defend against Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero, and former champion Billy Kidman, who is not featured in this segment here. Eddie Guerrero was apparently a real star in this segment. Huh. No worker improvements, though. 79, solid B rating here as we get a recap of last week's angle where it was DDP versus Ric Flair, and Kurt Angle rushes in after all the chaos with DDP and Benoit. Kurt Angle managing the lock in, the ankle lock onto Ric Flair as DDP also did to Chris Benoit, and Angle threatening to break Ric Flair's ankle. Angle threatening to break Kurt Angle's ankle. God, I hate how those two words sound alike. While DDP pretty much just coaxed Flair into it. Flair finally gives in, and at WrestleMania, Kurt Angle will get his match against Ric Flair. This just kind of hyping that up. And then I don't know if I made an announcement after this, so I'm going to go ahead and make the official announcement in here. If not, whatever. It doesn't matter if I made it in the next segment. We're making it here now. Next week, there will be a contract signing between the two men, making the match official. And good thing I made that announcement because I didn't make an official announcement right here, so whatever. 86 B+ rating as backstage we see Diamond Dallas Page and Mean Gene Okerlund. They're catching up with each other. They're joking around. DDP's kind of making fun of Ric Flair, pretty much joking around about Ric Flair last week, how he tapped out at Ric Flair's expense here. Page just goes on, "You should have seen the look on his face, Gene." Ooh, Kurt Angle was apparently still managing DDP here. That's my bad. But anyway, Flair was so damn confident that he was 5 steps ahead of Angle. He didn't even see Kurt Angle take the lead right under his feet. And before it was too late, Rick was down, screaming, and I really think the kid would have broke his ankle, because, whew, it's a good thing he said yes. And that's when Chris Benoit approaches DDP, and he's like, "What's so funny, guys?" And, it's kind of, Benoit kind of sucks the air out of the room here, because obviously he overheard what was going on. He goes, "No, I want to know what's so funny." And he presses Diamond Dallas Page up against the wall. And he says, "You talking about my mentor behind his back?" And DDP pushes him off of him, and he goes, "So what if I am?" And Benoit doesn't even give Page a response. He just lunges right at him. The two brawl, but Chris Benoit takes the advantage. He's just beating him down, eventually locking the crossface in onto Diamond Dallas Page, making him pass out while we have staff just back there trying to pull him out. So Benoit just beating the living hell out of DDP, making him pass out backstage for pretty much joking about his mentor there. Kurt really wasn't supposed to be there. That was kind of the whole point of hyping up that segment from last week. Kurt's not here. He already got his match, and Flair, Kurt's training for the match. Flair's probably selling his injuries, but I made that mistake, but who cares? DDP, a real star in this segment. Chris Benoit came across well, gained some heat to their storyline. Good stuff all around. 74 B- rating here. Don't turn your screens, I swear to God. That is who it's supposed to be. The music of Lance Storm plays, and out comes the WCW Canadian Champion with both the Canadian and the United States Championship. Remember, Lance Storm stole the US title away from Edge a couple weeks back in a video plays recapping exactly how he got the United States Championship from Edge as he makes his way down to the ring. Once in the ring, he takes the mic and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, you can stop rubbing your eyes. It's not an illusion. Your champion of Canada is now in possession of the American Championship, thus making me not only the champion of the great country that is Canada, but it also makes me the champion of this dump of a country known as America. Ladies and gentlemen, I am now your official North American champion." And before any of you bring up Mexico, I mean, come on, does Mexico even count? And I'd imagine Lance Storm getting a little heat from that as people start booing him. But then again, this is 2002, so maybe I'm giving the crowd too much credit at this time. But that's when we have familiar music go off from the past, and out comes former WWF superstar Tatanka. That's why I said don't turn the channel, don't refresh the page. Tatanka's here. He's making a shocking return, and when I say return, that doesn't mean he's gotten a contract. It really just means this is a one-off appearance. Tatanka comes down. He comes down, interrupting the Canadian champion as he makes his way down to the ring. He grabs the mic on his way down, and he takes the mic, and he goes on to confront Lance Storm, and he says, You are no champion. Not of these lands, not of any lands. And Storm goes, right. Says the guy who no one hasn't seen in years and who also isn't. And let's go ahead, pull up our handy-dandy notepad as Lance Storm holds the Canadian Championship up in Tatanka's face pretty much. And he says, isn't holding any gold compared to the guy who has 2 pieces of gold. And that's when Tatanka responds by saying, you stole your gold. You stole your gold from Europe. You stole your gold from Edge. Mr. Storm, you have earned nothing. And that's when Lance Storm just slaps Tatanka right across the face and he says, I haven't earned nothing? I've defended this title against any and all comers. You think I'm gonna let some gimmicky old man talk to me like that? Step it up, Chief. And that's when Storm lays the Canadian Championship onto the ground. He's saying, and he goes on to say, you say I stole this? Well, I dare you to take it back. And then that's when Tatanka catches Storm off guard, takes him off his feet, and he brawls, and the bell rings, officially making this a match for the Canadian Championship. Tatanka not only making a surprise return here, but he's going for the title. And I kind of chose Tatanka here, not only because he was kind of recognizable, he has decent mic skills, but it kind of plays into the storyline. I'm not trying to sound any, racist or be stereotypical here or anything. But, Tatanka being Native American, playing off that Indian, character, and let's be honest, he was always kind of, a racist character to begin with, so I'm just booking him out. WWF always booked him in the first place. But, being, that Native American kind of, the stereotype as it is, as bad as it might sound, Native Americans are all, Mother Nature, and they love the land and all that, and America being their land before it became, North America, or not North America, but became the United States of America, before it became Mexico, before it became Canada. It was just one big America. So Tatanka to me is like the one person who could really represent, North America as a whole after Lance Storm really kind of claimed the I'm the champion of North America. And that may be leading to something if you guys can catch on there. Tatanka was underwhelming, and it did lose heat for the Lance Storm Edge feud, but that's okay. That's fine if you ask me. We then go into the matchup itself. 78 solid B rating. Jesus, Lance Storm, you can carry anybody to a great match, can't you? Wow. 78 solid B rating. I'm in awe. I'm in awe right now. Like, I expected this to get a B minus, the best. A B minus best, most likely a C plus, maybe even a solid C minus. I didn't know how Tatanka was going to go over here, but Lance Storm is just the guy. He's just the guy. He's just the guy. 78 solid B, and about that had decent wrestling, but not much weight and heat. Lance Storm goes over to Tatanka in 5 minutes 57 seconds with the Canadian Maple Leaf submission, making his 19th defense of the WCW Canadian Championship. Lance Storm, you were just too good. Too good. Pretty vocal crowd wasn't very thrilled with seeing Tatanka wrestle. That just even adds it on there more. The crowd was against Tatanka, and Lance Storm still pulled out a 78 solid B rating out of this. Tatanka with an in-ring performance of a 40, and Lance Storm with a 78. So there you have it. Good Lord Almighty. 77 solid B rating afterwards. Lance Storm, of course, refusing to let go of the Canadian Maple Leaf as Tatanka's just tapping, pretty much begging Storm to let go of it. Finally, out comes Edge. He races down to the ring, and he goes after, he comes down to save Tatanka, pretty much sliding in the ring to go after the Canadian champion. Storm gets out of the ring, of course, grabs both the U.S. Championship and the Canadian Championship, escapes through the crowd because he wants to avoid Edge at all costs here right now and hold on to both those titles. Edge just kind of mocks him, pretty much begging, daring him, get back in the ring, come on, while Storm just retreats here. So, advancing the storyline there. Hope you guys enjoyed Tatanka, because we'll probably never see him again. Although he got a good match, but it's Lance Storm. It wasn't Tatanka. 83 B+ rating here as Mean Gene's backstage with the WCW Tag Team Champions. All right, fans, Mean Gene here, and joining me now are the WCW Tag Team Champions, Kanyon and Hugh Morris. Boys, in just a few moments, we will find out who will be the final team to challenge you for those tag team titles at WrestleMania, and you have a role in that, because if you beat Chris Jericho and Christian, then they will face Power Plant immediately after the match, and whoever wins that match will join you two, the Hardy Boys, and the team of RVD and Sabu. That's when Kanyon steps up and he goes, "We're not worried about it, Gene. Give us the Hardys. Give us the ECW guys. Hell, give us Power Plant and Vitamin C. Because quite frankly, Mean Gene, Kanyon and Hugh Morris are on a roll, and it doesn't matter who you are, because if you get in our way, you're going down." And then Mean Gene proposes the question on everybody's mind. Well, what about last week? I'm not trying to stir the pot here, but the only reason you two are in this mess to begin with is because Jericho beat Morris last week. And that's when Hugh steps up and he goes, "And I own up to that. But tonight, it's time for Vitamin C to get their daily dose of Hugh Morris." And that's when Hugh Morris walks out while Kanyon just kind of sits there like, oh my God, did he just say that? And there, stupid line, but it works for Hugh Morris. Kanyon getting better at his gimmick. Heenan was pretty weak apparently. Mean Gene looked dreadful in this segment. Kanyon came across well. All in all, good stuff. Despite Mean Gene looking dreadful, 83 B+, good stuff. 87 B+, good stuff. 87 B+, and a bout that had superb wrestling and good heat to it. Vitamin C. Chris Jericho and Christian go over Kanyon and Hugh Morris in 16 minutes 14 seconds after Christian defeats Hugh Morris with a pinfall after the unprettier after a distraction from Mark Jindrak and Sean Stasiak. So the way I'd have this match going down here is, of course, there are implications here. If Vitamin C win now, they get into the ladder match right away. If they lost, they would have taken on Power Plant right after, but that didn't happen. Power Plant coming down here, and of course this causing a little bit of a distraction for Hugh Morris and Kanyon. Maybe Kanyon going over and getting in their face, or maybe just Hugh Morris being distracted all in all. But the distraction does end up costing not only Kanyon and Hugh Morris the match, but it costs Power Plant their championship opportunity, because Christian fully capitalizes off of this, hits the unprettier on Hugh Morris, and 1, 2, 3, Vitamin C are the final team in the ladder match. So now it is official. It'll be the Hardy Boys, Team ECW, of course, being Rob Van Dam and Sabu, Vitamin C, and Kanyon and Hugh Morris in a ladder match for the WCW Tag Team titles. Christian and Jericho, of course, have excellent chemistry. Heenan was weak. Christian with a in-ring performance of a 98. Good Lord. Jericho with a 100. Hugh Morris with a 76. He was apparently the weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else's in-ring performance, and I can see why. That's not bad, but when you got people with 98s and 100s, and then Canyon almost with the 90 himself, 85, just 5 points below, it's pretty obvious why Hugh Morris was kind of overshadowed here. Jericho is improving in performance, and Hugh Morris himself improving in performance and technical skills, so good stuff there. Afterwards, we go to a quick little segment as we see a car pull up. Maybe not a limo, maybe just I don't know, something Goldberg would drive. I can't imagine it being some like sedan or something. 75 B- as Goldberg is here, and he's got something on his mind, and it's next. 99 A-star rating here. Goldberg's music plays, and as we come back from commercial break, out Heat comes as a graphic plays, hyping up the match for WrestleMania. It'll be Goldberg representing the WCW, battling Stone Cold Steve Austin, representing the WWF, of course. Once in the ring, Goldberg goes on to take the mic, and he says, anyone know the definition of a coward? Because I thought I did. But apparently, Stone Cold Steve Austin is on a mission to redefine the word. Because what Stone Cold did on Raw this past week was an act of a coward. Stone Cold and the grown man of a son he calls Rhino knew I wasn't going to be on Raw. I don't work for Vince McMahon, and I have no desires to work an extra day in the week if I don't have to. You know, it doesn't really matter, though, because the fact of the matter is that Austin knew I wasn't going to be there. And he took his opportunity to strike like the snake that he is. And attack the WCW World Champion Sting, a good friend of mine who's had my back in the past. Austin didn't do this in honor of the WWF because he attacked Kane as well. Which, by the way, Kane, next time I see ya, I owe you one. But anyway, Austin only attacks Sting. Oh, gotta pull up our handy-dandy notepad, which will probably be for the final time tonight, I believe. Where are we at? There we go. He only attacks Sting to get in my mind, to get in my head. Which I gotta admit, Austin, it worked. Which is why I will be on Monday Night Raw. WrestleMania will come early, and I'm gonna put your ass out the pasture. And that's when the music of the WCW World Champion Sting plays, and out he comes with mic in hand, and he goes, whoa, Bill, hang on there a minute, buddy. And of course, he's making his way down to the ring as he's talking. Are you sure that's a good idea just days before WrestleMania to go to Monday Night Raw? That's when Goldberg responds, I don't give a damn about WrestleMania. All I care about is getting my hands on that rattlesnake and putting him out of his misery. Doesn't matter when or where or when. The sooner, the better. Sting now in the ring, and he goes, well, you know what? I can't argue with that logic. So, you know what? I've got your back. Yeah, that's where you're wrong. You see, while I appreciate your help, Sting, I never asked, wanted, nor needed your help. And if anything, you've become more of a distraction, if anything. So why don't you just keep your nose out of my business from now on? Bill, you're joking, right? You know you're going in there 2-on-1. Yeah, and I can handle myself. It's bad enough I gotta watch my back for baby Austin. If I get taken out, that's one loss for WCW. If you get taken out, that's 2. And that's 2 too many if you ask me. So please, for the sake of your match at WrestleMania, let me handle this. I'm not asking. I'm telling. And Sting's not gonna argue, and he says, well, when you put it like that, I guess I've got no choice. I just hope you know what you're doing. And that's when the WCW champion extends his hand to Goldberg, and Goldberg looks at him and he goes, I've faced worse. And he shakes Sting's hand to end off the segment. Goldberg sends a message to Austin. He will be there Monday Night Raw, the Raw before WrestleMania, and he says WrestleMania's coming early. He's not going to wait. You want to make this personal? Let's make this personal. Had to take a drink there. Goldberg voice kind of kills me a bit too. Let's get rid of all this stuff now that we don't need it. It's taking a second. There we go. Hall of Fame, guys. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. Unless that's going to be it if you guys don't. Bobby Heenan still weak. Goldberg was good. Gained some heat for the feud. All in all, good stuff. 76 B- as backstage. We don't hear what's going on, but this is kind of one of those, we see it happening. Shane McMahon, of course, with the Giant and Booker T, and they're all kind of plotting of what's the plan tonight, guys? Another 76 B- as we see The Rock, and he's making his way towards the gorilla position, getting ready for the match before commercial break. Coming back from commercial break, we get ready for our match. During the entrances, though, Shane McMahon, of course, accompanying the Big Show, excuse me, not the Big Show, the Giants. And he walks over to the announce table, and something interesting happens here. He kind of takes a look at Bobby Heenan, and he tells him, hey, get out of here. I'm going to join commentary. And, of course, everyone's like, well, what's going on? And Shane's like, move. I'm joining commentary. So he kicks Bobby Heenan off the color commentary table, and he takes his spot for the main event of the night. And during the match, he'll kind of explain it towards, Bobby is a guy that, WWF fans can recognize, and Shane McMahon is looking to, if he's going to replace anybody on the color commentary table, he's going to replace the WWF guy. Tenay and Dusty Rhodes are WCW guys, so Bobby Heenan's got to be the one to take the boot, pretty much. Main event time. Oh, I thought this would do a lot better. Golly, I should have main evented with the tag title match, or with the tag team match. That's a shame. I really thought this would do a lot better. I'm a bit disappointed in this matchup. 76 B- rating here in an exceptional matchup. The Rock goes over the Giant in 9 minutes 41 seconds with the rock bottom, following a botched interference courtesy of Booker T during the match. We also had Shane McMahon distracting The Rock, so a little bit of interference. That might be why this match went down a bit, but I mean, we look at that tag team match, there was a little bit of interference in there. I mean, distraction and interference with Mark Jindrak and co., but maybe that's also has a lot more working for it. I'm surprised. I thought this would at least do a solid B, if not maybe even an A-. It's okay. Maybe even a B+. An exceptional match. I already went over all this. So pretty much Giant looking good here in this matchup. Rock coming back, of course. Booker T trying to play off the distraction. Usually when I have someone distracting like the person, it's kind of also him distracting the referee. Booker T looking to go after the Rock. Misses Rock, hits the Giant instead, probably with the chair or something. Rock hits the rock bottom on Booker T, and then the people's elbow onto the Giant. Pins him. 1, 2, 3. Rock gets his match, and it is official at WrestleMania. It'll be The Rock taking on Booker T and Shane McMahon in a 1-on-2 handicap match. Rock with an in-ring performance of a 96. The Giant with an 85. I wonder why this did so bad. It lost heat for the feud as well. I gotta look at this. Hold on. A lot of bonuses here. So Rock was holding back, apparently. So was the Giant. I wonder why. Apparently the match length got it shortened. I guess 10 minutes wasn't enough, but I didn't want to overdo it. Maybe it was Shane's color commentary, but I don't think that would have much of an effect. I mean, we didn't get the ding like we normally do with Bobby Heenan, so I don't know. Well, nonetheless, Rock is improving in performance, Giant is improving in performance, and we end off the show with our next angle here. There we go, that'll help out the storyline. 99 A-star rating. The match is over. Rock has just won the match, and now he has his match with Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, but immediately after his opponent and Shane's tag team partner for WrestleMania, Booker T gets back into the ring, jumps Rock from behind, as of course Shane McMahon is Rock is mocking Shane McMahon pretty much, telling him just bring it, telling him to get in the ring, let's do this now. Booker T attacks from behind, and he's beating down on The Rock. He has the upper hand for just a moment, though, as The Rock fires back, hits some rights of his own before taking him out of the ring with a clothesline. Meanwhile, Shane McMahon, using this distraction to his advantage, slides into the ring with a steel chair in hand and goes to smack The Rock with the chair, but Rock turns around just in time, catching Shane off his guard. Shane kind of tosses the chair down. What am I writing here? Tosses the chair down and swings at The Rock. Oh, okay. That's what it was. He tosses the chair down and he goes to swing at The Rock to punch him. Rock, of course, dodges the punch, and he pulls Shane in. He's going to hit Shane with the rock bottom, but the Giant, who is now back up onto his feet, connects with a hard right hand right to the Rock's jaw, pretty much the weapon of mass destruction. Taking down the Rock before picking him back up and hitting him with the choke slam, and then dragging him over into the corner, placing that steel chair that Shane had in between the ropes, and Shane McMahon climbs to the top turnbuckle onto the other side of the ring, hits the coast to coast onto the Great One as he, the Giant, and Booker T all stand tall over the Rock to end off the show. And there you have it. Rock was a real star in this segment, gained some heat for the feud, much needed heat after that stinker of a match between the Rock and the Giant. Good Lord. And we end off Nitro, and we get ourselves a 90 solid A rating here, increasing our popularity in 8 regions. All in all, what a show. What a show. In fact, I really like the way that show turned out. I like the way I booked it. I like the pacing of it. And yeah, I think that was a really good show. The one thing I enjoy about the WWE versus TEW series is it kind of gives me a look at how WWE books their shows. And now that I got a general idea of how they book their shows, I've kind of seen that I kind of book the shows the same way now. Not like the exact same way, but now that I have an idea, it's like, okay, I don't really need to be giving this that much time. It doesn't really need to have that much time. I've got a better grasp of timing, I feel. Nonetheless, Nitro getting fantastic reviews. Pero Aguayo Jr., I think that's the guy that passed away, wasn't it, during that Rey Mysterio thing, which was crazy. But I think that's him. And apparently Kurt Angle is the best overall worker in wrestling today. We got some opinions here. Goldberg says, Boss Man doesn't connect with the fans. We should probably write him off. And Steve Kern says, Rey Mysterio is just too small in my opinion. The kid has no upside. Oh, Steve Kern, could you not be any more wrong? But that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope it was worth the wait. If you have enjoyed, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe if you have not already. And as always, my name has been OMGWTF, LOLFTWBRB. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, Facebooks, Twitters, Instagrams. I don't give a dams. Any social media account out there. If you feel you got a buddy out there who would enjoy my content, give them a share. Help your boy out, get some new subscribers up in this bitch. And as always, I will see you guys in the next episode for Sunday Night Heat. So don't you wait, don't you worry. It should not be too long. But until then, have a great one.